Hey guys, welcome to the Subi Sanctuary YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to fix the rusty rockers on your Subaru on a budget. So I got the car set up on the hoist here so we can take a good look and get an idea of the work that we have to do. And this looks better than I expected actually. The reason this is flopping around is all of the clips are missing, but the rocker panel itself for the most part is actually in really good shape, at least for a Ontario car. So there is a little bit of rot happening back here, which this is the first place they go. And I'm gonna have to have a word with the client, see if he actually wants to do full rocker panels or if he would like just patch the intersection here. And I think the outer section of the rocker panel, I only need to do maybe a foot of it. But the next step, pull off the side skirts, get a better look. And there you can see the rocker panels are actually in really nice shape. For an Ontario car, this is... they don't even sound like it's crumbling inside. Unfortunately, people keep lifting the cars where you're not supposed to lift the cars. This side is almost as good as the other side. As usual, pinch weld has been jacked up on because people don't care. And back here, same thing, pinch weld. This is the only real rot on the rocker panel, and I feel like this should be fixed. The pinch weld should be straightened out, but I could probably just make a patch panel that'll go from here, go across, and then back down. So first thing I do is I just grab a pair of vice grips, and I start to straighten it out enough to where I can actually hit where I need to. Of course, the hoist isn't always making it easier, but okay, now that we've hammered and pulled the pinch weld to approximately where it's supposed to be, I'm going to be cutting out the soft spot in the rocker panel here, because there's nothing we can do with that. Before I do, take a Sharpie. I'm just going to draw around where I think I need to cut. Well, we got her cut. Now we can see inside and get an idea of what we're working with. The next step on the Subaru rockers is there's spot welds going into this reinforcement here. So you got to knock those spot welds out. And just like that, it's off. And you can see where the spot welds were. It does a really good job of just shearing them off. Now we got a better idea of what we're working with. And what we're working with is more rust. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go up a little bit higher just on the back end because the rust does go up higher. And if you look in here, that's mostly clean metal. I'm gonna cut... probably should cut right along the top of these holes. I don't want to go too far up because I don't want to get into where being above the side skirt. So I'm going to go up maybe another 1.5 inches, go across, and then that will be the panel I have to make. So like before, I marked out where I'm going to cut. I'm going to get my little die grinder out, the cutting wheel, and zipper open to see what's hiding behind. Well, as usual, it was the next day. I came in all ready to work and I forgot to start filming. Finished one patch, got her all welded in. Luckily, I remembered that I was making a video and I didn't get started on the next side yet. So that's the side you guys are gonna get to see. Here's just what the finished product will look like. And now, on to seeing how I got there. I am lucky enough that I have a metal brake that I can take to wherever I need. You guys might not be so lucky. So what you're going to want to do is make yourself a template that is the shape of the rocker you're trying to patch. So you see how that all curves? This matches it almost exactly. Well, it does match it pretty much exactly. Now the reason you want to make this is so that you're not going back and forth between the vise and the car trying to get the shape on the panel that you are going to use. It's a lot easier to bend one of those up by hand, and then as you're working it, you can always check. So what we're going to have to do is make this panel the same shape as the rocker. And we're going to do that with a metal brake. Okay, first thing you're going to want to do is make your pinch weld, which is what this little tab here is. And to do that, we line up our little template and make a couple marks. Just like that. Then we're going to move on to our metal brake. That smudge, the mark is right there and right there. Probably should make it bigger when I'm making a video so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to make it nice and even. I'm very picky with my pinch welds. I really don't like it when they're not even, so bear with my OCD. Alright, we're clamped in place, and let me set the camera down and I'll start bending. Now we can take our new panel and compare it to the car. And you can see there, we're just about where we need to be actually. Alright, so I've taken the die grinder and I've kind of ground this edge down a little bit so that we can get a bit better of a fitment. You can see she lines up nice now. The next step will be we have to cut the excess off of the edge of the back of the quarter panel. You don't want to cut it right to the edge of the quarter panel. You want to leave yourself an extra inch or so because you have to make the lip that wraps around. Because we want to make this flange here. And to do that, I'm going to cut somewhere about here, and then we're going to have to bend a lip. So I'm going to put the camera down, I'm going to make a couple marks for myself so I know what I'm doing, and I'll show you how we get that part done. Alright, so that's pretty much our patch panel almost ready to install. The only thing left now is to weld together all these tabs so that we have a nice smooth, I guess, pinch weld wheel lip. And once that's tacked together, It's finally time to paint the inside of it with the weld-through primer and weld the panel in place. Alright, got those holes filled up. I'm gonna get the grinder out, smooth this out, and see if I need to do anything else or if that's gonna be ready to install. And there we have it. Now, this looks really uneven, not completely welded to the edge. This lip looks pretty ugly. That we will trim and shape once it's on the car so that we can get it to match the original one that is on the car still. So that's about it for making the patch panel. Now we're ready to coat it and install it. So we now have our weld-through primer sprayed to the back of the panel, and it's finally time to weld it in place. We got the panel welded on. Got it ground down a little bit. You can see there are a few little pinholes in some areas. I'm gonna go over those again with the welder, grind them back down, and then we're ready to move on to the inner rocker piece we gotta build. We're on the back side of the panel we were working on to fix the inner rocker. Now's the time when you get to break out the arts and crafts supplies, the scissors, the cardboard, and you get to make yourself a template. It's not really rocket science. You just kind of look and think, oh, I think that should go there, that should go there, and make up a little cardboard drawing, and you end up with this. As you can see, this was my first one. There's a little hole there. There, sorry, it's hard to film and point, but yeah, not quite right, but close. So I took that, went to my handy dandy pizza box, and made another one based on what I've learned from my first one. Second one I made up, significant improvement. No more gap, no more hole. I was able to shave a little bit off the top there so I have some more room to weld. And I think that's going to be the shape we're going for. Test it out and see how she fits. All right, not too bad. I'm gonna wanna make this bend, this one right here, a little bit less aggressive. The thing when you're making patch panels, it's a lot of going back and forth trying to get the fitment just right. Alright, so I'm going to keep playing with it until I'm happy, and when I'm happy I'll get back to you. After a bit more trimming, some weld through primer on the inside of the patch panel and on the area that's going to be overlapped with metal, I'm just about ready to weld. Unfortunately, I don't have much of a good way to place the camera, so I'm going to weld this off camera, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when she's all done. After a little bit of welding, this is what it looks like. I still need to weld up this area here and grind a little bit more on here, but that's looking pretty good. I'd say that's a pretty nice solid rocker panel patch. But for me, I'm gonna call it a day. It's 5 o'clock. I'm getting hungry, and I'll be back to finish her off tomorrow. Of course, I decided to start the day off right. Fill in the pinholes with weld, get a bit of body filler. Also, this is some self-etching primer. And I did all of that off camera because that's what I like to do when I come in the morning. Forget about the camera. So I'm gonna let the filler dry. I'll get the sander on here, give her a nice quick sanding to smooth her down, and we could probably go to the primer stage and then some masking and rocker guarding. Oh, and of course, before I forget, I am gonna have to drill in the new holes for the side skirt and for this thing that goes here. And there it is. I didn't film the sanding just because that's not super exciting. I just take a DA and sand it smooth. And I masked off the car, masked off the hoist, so you don't want any paint getting on that. Shot a coat of primer, and we're now ready to rocker guard the rocker. I'll set up the camera somewhere where I'm not going to paint it, and you guys can watch the action. And there's the first coat. Now it will take a couple more coats. I just want to let it set up a little bit. If you go too heavy, you don't end up with a nice texture. It just ends up looking blobby. But that's it. Next time you guys see it, I'll have it all unmasked. Oh, I finished up the inside as well. I gave it a coat of the paint we were using. And on top of that, I sprayed it with some Rust Check, just like a anti-corrosion oily spray, and that should help protect it. And on this side, I got the side skirt on, and now that there's metal to secure it on the bottom, this isn't flapping like it used to, so the customer should be nice and happy. I'm gonna finish putting the side skirt on this side, and that's it for this car. And here it is, all complete. All my hard work has been covered up, and now you can't even tell that I was in there. Now, if you remember before, the side skirts were all really flappy and loose. Now, all of them solid. Same with the other side. You see, you grab it, she is not flopping around like it was before. And that's it for this one, and that's it for this video. Thanks again for watching. If you found any of this entertaining or helpful, make sure you hit that like button, because it definitely helps us with the algorithm. We're really trying to grow the channel again. As you can see, we've started up on the bodywork, and apparently that's what you guys are more interested in. So make sure you subscribe. Lots more stuff coming up, and thanks for watching.